Hi, this is Dr. Scott Young, and today we're going to talk to you about something pretty unique. Let me move the microphone in. So let's talk a little bit about the BRICS nations. There's a lot of confusion out there because we don't really always understand. Now, NESARA is National Economic Stabilization and Reformation Act, and it was created years and years ago. Now, um, one of the things that people don't realize is that Trump, through a lot of the white hat and the white hat military, realized that they needed to bring on the rest of the world. They needed the world to be a part of this because every time they tried to do it on their own, they realized, that the bad boys just came in and it kept blowing it up over and over again. In '08, 2001, every single time they tried to do it. So if you have the rest of the world, and that was Trump's first term, so that's why he went to all those different nations. And so we have the BRICS nations. Why do you have the BRICS nations? The Russia, the Brazil, India, China, South Africa. Why is it that we have that? And frankly, what you don't know is that it really is the 209 nations. And I get asked this all the time. What is, what are all the other nations? So what Trump did is he went to each one of those nations and said, "Hey, listen, we got all the goods on them. We know all the stupid stuff. Do you guys want to be a part of this? We're going to go gold backed." And they called it GESARA, or global. That doesn't mean it's a one world currency. That Germany will have its own currency. Okay. So they're going to be calling themselves, they have their own currency. And Iraq will be the dinar, or Vietnam will be the dong. So each nation will have her own currency. China, the yuan. And so it's a different, it's every nation will have her own currency. It's not a one world currency. Now, what they actually did, they got a little irritated, and somewhere around 2020-ish, 2021, they started getting a little irritable at us because we hadn't done anything. So they formed this thing called the BRICS nations, and they started to get together, and they really basically created GESARA. And so what happened is that they were going, well, we're going to go back. So they started to form an alliance, and this alliance shut off the dollar deeper and deeper every single day. And I mean, it freaked them out. And now you you hear about it on the back end. Like, this nation wants to jump in. This nation wants to jump in. This African nation wants to come in. The South African nation wants to come over. And the reality is, all the nations actually have come on. Now, at the same time, many of these African nations or other nations actually have found just trillions of dollars of asset-backed mines. So mines that have just incredible amounts of assets, and it's not an accident. You're hearing of that kind of stuff, and it's an asset-backed point. It's because we're going away from the fiat into the asset, and we don't need to have a coalition of these groups. They're just collating to go against any fiat, but they need to be together, but not, they're only together just to be together as a group, but they're not going to have a one currency. They're going to have individual currencies. We need to have every nation have its own individual currency, because the whole goal of the sicko, the elites, is to have a one world currency. That's what CBDC is. That's what Fed Now is. That's the whole goal of the idiots. We don't want what they want. We want a individualized, decentralized quantum financial system. That's what Iraq is going to be, for instance. Iraq is going to have its own forex, its own dinar backed by oil. It's going to have its own ability to do that. So each nation is going to have a backing to that. And that's a great thing, so that she doesn't have to be beholden to some three-letter agency who's going to come in and tell her, you need to do this, and make her in debt or indebted to them to do this kind of thing. This is how we have these elitists telling them what to do. See, that's what happens. You see, when you have a bully and you have other people around and going, we're not going to be bullied, because that one person is strong enough to stand up. But she needs to be strong enough. Each country has to be individually strong enough and have a coalition of strong enough nations together and individually. That's the whole point. Um, you see, I mean, the Constitution talks about, it's for the people and by the people. That's what NESARA is about. It's each nation has to have a common law. So it's for the people and by the people. That's the whole point here. Now, one of the things that just came out, and I mean, we're in July right now here, and I know you're frustrated. You want it to happen yesterday. Don't ask me this question. You are going to ask me, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? And I always say to you this one statement: 10 people in the world know the date. I am not one of them. Why I would have made it happen 2 or 3 years ago. If you've listened to my videos, you would have heard me say, well, it would have happened years ago. Well, yes, I would have made it happen years ago. But you know what? This is a war. There's a lot of stuff that has to be done. Okay. The reality is, the reality is, there is stuff that had to be done. Okay. And I wish I knew all the things that happens. That's why we have to have an EBS. So we have to be told and see all the things, all the specific things that have to happen. But in the overarching points that have to occur is the EBS first, then we have a gold backed currency. Okay. And they have the NESARA, the GESARA kinds of points. So each of the nations can be individually taken care of. We're not talking about every single person on the planet having millions of dollars. We're talking about each person on the planet being unhooked from the sicko systems. Okay. So, and here's what happened. There was news reporting that's out there, and it is really, really cool, that the BRICS nations are getting together later in August. So we believe this is a backwall date that stipulated that they are going to be asset backed, and they're pushing it out there. Now, we've heard this over and again. Now they're actually saying it, that they're going to be asset backed by sometime in August. Now, they would not say that without that point. And then Fed now is telling you, which is just their way of doing an XRP kind of thing, some type of payment system, that you would have to go on there and use $25 a month. And it's just ridiculous stuff. Again, Fed now is never going to happen because it's done by the Fed. So don't worry about that stuff. The reality is that the BRICS system is going to be out there, and it's GESARA. And they're telling you this kind of stuff is happening. You should be excited. So we are going to see it happen very shortly. Be calm, chill. As Mark Z says, look at the fundamentals. That's what I focus on every day. And that's why I'm in prayer for you. I'm in prayer for you guys. I know it's frustrating, but realize it's going to happen. Thanks so much.